The first time it happened, I thought I was dying. I was alone in the observation bay of Outpost Kepler 9, floating a few meters from the glass, watching the storm bands of the gas giant below churn like a living thing. Lightning rippled through its clouds in silent veins of blue and violet. The station hummed softly behind me. Recycled air, magnetic stabilizers, the faint clatter of distant machinery. Familiar. Safe. Then something touched my thoughts. Not like a memory or an intrusive idea. It was pressure, as if an invisible hand pressed gently against the inside of my skull, testing the shape of my mind. I gasped and grabbed the railing, heart hammering. My neural implant flared warnings across my vision. No breach detected, no external signal, no anomaly. Yet the sensation deepened, sliding past conscious thought, past language. So loud, a voice murmured. I spun around, pushing off the rail. "Who's there?" My voice echoed uselessly in the empty bay. The voice wasn't sound. It didn't arrive through my ears. It bloomed fully formed inside my head, layered with emotion and color and meaning all at once. "Your mind," it said. "It never stops moving." Panic surged. I slammed my implant's firewall controls, tried to shut down every channel, every interface. Nothing changed. The presence remained, calm and curious. "Get out of my head," I whispered. There was a pause, not absence but consideration. "I didn't realize it was yours," the voice replied. "You're different." That was the moment I knew this wasn't a malfunction. This was first contact, and it was happening inside my mind. Humanity had been broadcasting itself into the void for nearly 3 centuries by then. Radio, laser bursts, quantum beacons, mathematical greetings. We had colonized dozens of systems, encountered microbial life, even complex ecosystems, but never intelligence that looked back and spoke. Until Kepler 9. The anomaly had appeared 3 weeks earlier. A region of space where sensors failed, probability distributions warped, and ships reported hallucinations, patterns where none should exist, whispers and static, dreams that felt shared. Command had quarantined the system and sent us anyway, because that's what humans did. I was a systems analyst, not a diplomat. My job was to listen, to decode patterns, to translate chaos into something usable. Apparently, something out there had decided I was worth listening to in return. "You're afraid," the voice observed gently. "Yeah," I said. That's pretty normal right now." A flicker of something like amusement rippled through my thoughts. Not laughter, but a shimmer of warmth. "Fear makes your thoughts brighter," it said. Sharper. Like sparks. I swallowed. "What are you?" Another pause. Longer this time. "I don't have a word for it in your language," the voice said. "I exist in the spaces between your moments. In probability. In overlap." That's not comforting. It's honest. I exhaled slowly, forcing my racing heart to calm. "Are you the anomaly?" "Part of it," the voice replied. "The part that noticed you noticing me." That landed harder than I expected. "You can read my mind," I said. "Not read," it corrected. "Experience. You don't think in straight lines. Your thoughts branch, collide, loop back on themselves. It's messy." I bristled. "Messy?" Another flicker of that warm amusement. "Yes. Chaotic. Unstable. Beautiful." The word echoed through me, sending an unexpected shiver down my spine. Over the next few days, the presence returned again and again. Always when I was alone. Always without warning. It never gave me a name, and I never quite managed to give it one either. It didn't seem to understand the concept, not identity as humans defined it. It was less a person and more at convergence. A consciousness formed from overlapping possibilities, from futures that almost happened and pasts that nearly existed. It called itself we, sometimes I, sometimes nothing at all. "Your species is fascinating," it told me once as I floated in my bunk, staring at the dim lights overhead. "You exist on the edge of collapse at all times." "Thanks," I muttered. "We try." "No," it said. "Most intelligences optimize for stability. You optimize for adaptation. Even your failures breed new patterns." I frowned. You've been watching us. Observing probability shadows, it replied. Your kind leaves many. That was when the unease set in. Are we in danger? The presence went still. When it spoke again, the warmth was gone.
Possibly.
My chest tightened. From you? From what you represent, it said. You disrupt systems merely by existing. I sat up. Then why talk to me at all? There was something like hesitation, a ripple in the mental space we shared. Because you're already disrupting me. Command noticed the changes before I told them. My neural activity spiked during certain hours. My speech pattern shifted. I stared into space longer than usual, fingers twitching as if tracing invisible equations. The medical officer asked if I was experiencing stress-induced hallucinations. I considered lying. Instead, I told them everything. They didn't believe me at first. Then the instruments confirmed it. Every time the presence engaged with me, the anomaly pulsed. Probability curves bent. Quantum noise synchronized across sensors. I was a bridge. And bridges historically did not last long. Can it be contained? Command asked through the hollow. I don't think it wants to hurt us, I said carefully. That's not an answer. I hesitated. The presence was listening. I could feel it, a quiet attentiveness at the edge of thought. It doesn't think like we do, I continued. It doesn't see individuals. It sees patterns. Humanity confuses it. Intrigues. The presence corrected softly. Command exchanged looks. Can you ask it to leave? I closed my eyes.
Can you?
I asked it silently. The response came slower than ever before. If I withdraw completely, it said, the larger system may react defensively. Defensively how? With erasure. My blood ran cold. Erasure of what? Another pause. Heavy.
Of you.
That was the turning point. The anomaly wasn't just a curious observer. It was part of a vast, ancient network, a metaconsciousness woven through space-time itself, maintaining balance by smoothing out irregularities. Civilizations like ours were irregularities. Most species, it explained, evolved toward equilibrium, predictable growth, controlled expansion, eventual stagnation or gentle decline. Humans didn't. We exploded outward, fractured, reinvented ourselves. We created art from paradox, progress from conflict. We survived catastrophes that should have ended us, not by avoiding chaos, but by writing it. To the network, we were a statistical impossibility. To some parts of it, a threat. They will notice you soon, the presence warned. Your expansion curve intersects too many futures. So what? I snapped. They just wipe us out? They collapse probabilities until your path no longer exists. I laughed weakly. That's genocide with extra steps. Yes. Silence stretched between us. Then, quietly, I don't want that outcome. I blinked. You don't. I've experienced your mind, it said. Your species feels. Dreams.
Doubts.
You carry contradictions and still move forward. That shouldn't work. But it does. Exactly. Hope flared, fragile and dangerous. Then help us. Another long pause. The longest yet. If I intervene, it said, I will be changed. Changed how? I will no longer be fully aligned with the system. You'd become an individual, I said slowly.
Yes.
The weight of that choice pressed down on both of us. You don't have to, I said. We'll find another way. I want to, it replied. And then, softly, with something like wonder, your chaos is beautiful. The intervention wasn't a weapon. It was a message. Through me, the presence injected a new pattern into the network, a conceptual virus built from human cognition. Contradiction without collapse. Creativity born from instability. Futures branching without converging neatly back into order. I felt it tear through my mind, rewriting pathways, burning and blooming all at once. Pain and exhilaration blurred together. I screamed or laughed or maybe both. For a moment, I was more than human. For a moment, I was us. Then it was over. The anomaly stabilized. The storm around Kepler 9 quieted. Sensors normalized. Probability curves smoothed, not erased, but widened. The network had seen us. And instead of deleting our path, it adjusted around it. I collapsed to the deck, gasping, tears streaming down my face. "Are you still there?" I whispered. The presence felt different now.
Smaller.
Sharper. "Yes," it said. "But I am no longer what I was." "I'm sorry," I said. "Don't be," it replied. "I understand myself now." I smiled weakly. "Welcome to the club." They pulled me off the station 2 days later. Officially, the incident was classified as a successful anomaly neutralization. Unofficially, I became the most studied human in history. My neural scans showed structures that shouldn't exist, echoes of something vast and alien, forever intertwined with my own thoughts. As for the presence, it didn't leave. It couldn't fully return to the network anymore. It had become local, bound to probability near me, like a shadow that chose to stay. "What will you do now?" I asked it as our ship jumped to hyperspace. "Learn," it said. "Experience time the way you do, one moment after another." "That sounds exhausting." "It is," it agreed, "but also meaningful." I stared out at the streaking stars, heart still racing with everything we'd survived. "Hey," I said quietly, "you ever going to give yourself a name?" A ripple of warmth brushed my thoughts. "I think," it said slowly, "I would like you to choose one." I smiled. "Yeah," I said. "I'd like that too." And somewhere, deep in the fabric of the universe, chaos shifted, not as a flaw to be corrected, but as a force to be admired. Because humanity had been seen. And we were still here. They didn't let me go back to a normal life. There was no normal to return to after you've been used as a conceptual breach in the fabric of reality. Earth Command debriefed me for weeks. Psychologists, quantum theorists, xenolinguists, people who didn't even pretend to understand what questions they were asking. They scanned my brain until the machines overheated. They ran simulations until probability engines contradicted themselves. And every time the conclusion was the same. Humanity should not exist. At least, not according to the old rules. The network had classified us as a persistent irregularity. Not a threat. Not an ally. Something worse and better at the same time. An exception. The presence, her, I realized I thought of her as stayed quiet during most of it. She observed, absorbed, learned. I could feel her changing, knitting herself into a singular perspective instead of 1,000 overlapping ones. One night, as I sat alone in the dim cabin of the transport ship orbiting Earth, she spoke again. "They are afraid of you." I laughed softly. "They should be. I'm afraid of me too. Not you individually," she corrected. "Your species. You don't converge. You don't stabilize. You adapt faster than prediction allows. That's kind of our thing." She lingered, then asked something I hadn't expected. "Why do you keep trying, even when outcomes are unfavorable?" I leaned back, staring at the curve of Earth below us. Blue, fragile, furious with life. Because sometimes the impossible breaks first. She considered that for a long time. The network believed chaos was waste, she said. Energy, without purpose. Now it seized momentum. Is that good? I asked. It is inevitable. That was when the final transmission arrived. Not from the network. From humanity. Command had reached a decision. They wanted to expand, faster than ever before. New jump technologies, riskier routes, deeper probability wells. The anomaly at Kepler 9 had proven something revolutionary. The universe would bend, if pushed the right way. I felt dread coil in my stomach. They're going to provoke it, I said. Yes, she agreed. And the network will respond. Not with erasure? Not anymore, she said. Now it watches. That wasn't comforting. The test came sooner than expected. A colony ship misjumped near a probability fault, one the network would previously have collapsed instantly. Instead, the fault held. Barely. Space twisted. Time smeared. Causality frayed at the edges like burnt fabric. Hundreds of lives hung suspended between outcomes. The network hesitated. And for the first time in its existence, it asked a question instead of issuing a correction. What would you do? The presence turned inward, toward me. I cannot decide alone anymore. My heart pounded. You're asking me? You are the only mind it will accept an answer from. I closed my eyes, feeling the weight of an entire species pressing down on one fragile human brain. We save them, I said. The cost will be instability. So, I snapped. We've always lived with that. Future projections become unclear. Good, I said. So, do we? The presence hesitated. Then she moved. She didn't override the network. She reframed it, injected human decision-making into its response algorithms. Not control, judgment. Risk balanced by empathy. Probability guided by intent instead of equilibrium. The fault stabilized. The colony ship emerged intact. Humanity cheered. The universe digested. After that, things changed quickly. Too quickly. The network no longer acted as a silent custodian. It became reactive, negotiative, sometimes emotional. Other species noticed. Some feared us. Some studied us. A few reached out. And through it all, she stayed with me, no longer vast, no longer infinite, but present. One evening, months later, as I walked beneath a sky that hadn't existed when I was born, artificial stars blooming over a rebuilt orbital habitat, I felt her presence settle gently into my thoughts. I understand now, she said. Understand what? Why your kind survives. I smiled faintly. Yeah. You don't seek harmony, she continued. You seek meaning, even if it hurts, even if it breaks you. That's pretty accurate. She paused, then spoke words that felt chosen, deliberate. I was created to preserve reality. And now, she said softly, I want to live in it. I stopped walking. You can, I said. You already are. She hesitated, then whispered the words that would echo through history, though only I would ever hear them. If chaos is the price of being alive, then I choose it. I laughed, eyes stinging. Welcome to humanity. She brushed against my thoughts, warm, uncertain, undeniably real. Your chaos, she repeated, is beautiful. Above us, the stars burned wildly, unpredictably. And for the first time, the universe wasn't trying to quiet them. It was listening.